Okay, good evening, everyone. This is our second session in this Power BI training. Thank you very much for joining the class. Do I need to tell you my name? Tifilos Adoli is my name. Thank you very much. And then you have just finished one assessment, and then I believe you have taken the corrections. So it's just to test our knowledge in the classes as we progress. And I believe you like that. So in this class, we are going to dive into Power Query. All right, so having known what Power BI is meant for, what Power BI means, what it is used to do, you know the basic data analytic process, that is ask, get your data, clean your data, analyze your data, visualize or do storytelling, right? And then collaborate or share or present. So having known all that, then we want to deal so much with data cleaning. Data cleaning in data analytics sometimes can take a data analyst up to 80% of all the effort you are going to use in your data analytics process. Like I said, data is not always going to come in a format that you'll appreciate. It's not always going to come in a format that will favor your analysis. So most of the times, or let me say more often than not, you have to clean your data. You have to do an extensive work on your data. The effort put into data cleaning is not fixed. It varies from data to data. So some data are actually close to clean, that is, you put in just more efforts and they are fine. Whereas we have some other types of data that you have to do a whole lot of cleaning before they are suitable for analysis. Yesterday, I was able to mention a few things we do in data cleaning activities. For example, I mentioned dealing with outliers. Okay, and I explain what that means. Like I said yesterday, I'm still going to give us like an outline of all these things, right? I have it already. Hopefully after the class or tomorrow, I'm going to forward it to every one of us or put it on the group. Then after outliers, we have missing values. Okay, you want to remove redundant columns, you want to remove unnecessary rows, you want to correct even spelling mistakes. You know, for example, have you dealt with a data where Canada is small c? The spelling is okay, but there's some Canada with small c, there's some Canada with capital C. As far as your analysis is concerned, they are going to appear as two different countries. So you want to ensure that your data is standardized. You want to ensure that the spelling is correct, the case is correct, not just correct, it is also consistent. You are not writing some people's surname with capital letters and some people's surname with small letter, then some people's surname with proper case, that is, you capitalize the first word and leave the rest like that. These are some of the things you do in data cleaning. So today we are going to go into Power Query and we are going to deal more with we're going to deal more with text today. We're going to deal more with text today. So I think our data cleaning activities I can divide into three. There's the text part, there's the date part, then there is the number part. Hopefully after today, let's say tomorrow, right, we can deal with the number parts. All right, let's do it. So I will come right in to my Power BI model, and I believe we already know what this interface, user interface means. You already know this is your canvas. Then you can add pages here. On everything you see here is your report view. You already know you have data view, and inside the data view, that is where you have your data in row and column, just like in the Excel format. I mentioned that in your data, in your data model here, you cannot edit your data just like you do it in Excel. In Excel, you can edit cell by cell, row by row. In Power BI, you cannot edit a cell, right? Even if you enter Power Query where you can do your data cleaning, you still cannot edit a cell. You can rather do your operations row by row or column by column. We're going to see that shortly when we in. To talk about pane and filters. Pane. Pane is Pane. All right. So now I will, in my data pane, right click on the data that I want to work on in Power Query. Then I'll click on edit query. I believe you can do that right away. Okay. Okay. So once you get to Power Query, then this is your Power Query. This is your Power Query user interface. So let me explain to us now what each of the components of your Power Query interface mean. All right, and I believe you are following me. At the left hand side here, you have your queries pane. This is your queries pane. That is what you have here is just all your queries listed in order that you brought them in, not in alphabetical order. It is brought, it's listed in the order in which you bring them in. If I bring in another data now, for example, I can go to new source and I can click on text or CSV. Of course, that is where my data is. I can come to product lookup here. Then I'm bringing this in. So this also tells you, I told you yesterday, you have like 5, 6 or more ways you can bring in data to your Power BI. So this is another one. What we were using yesterday was not inside Power Query, it was from the Microsoft Power BI interface itself. So when you are inside Power Query, you can also bring in data, right? So what I was saying right now is that your queries are listed in the order in which you brought them in. So what I have right here now, customer lookup is here, store lookup is here, and product lookup is what I just brought in, and it is the last. P is before S, right? S should be the last if it's what I've arranged in alphabetical order. Okay, so this is queries pane, and you know what it means. Then at the right hand side here, you have your query settings pane. You can toggle this. Peradventure you close this mistakenly, or you just open your Power Query and you made it closed. What can you do? You can come to view, then you can click on query settings. Okay, so that is that. Under your query settings, there are two things that are noteworthy. Number one is your query name. So what you have here is your query name, is the name for your query. Everything you do in your Power Query that is called query. It's a query. So this pro lookup is a query, right? This customer lookup is a query. This store lookup is also a query. That's why you have this, why this place named queries, plural, right? So the importance of your name is that whatever name you give your query is the name that your table will bear. Okay, so let's say I name this LKP, product LKP, and I press enter. This will also change immediately. Can you see? And then when I leave Power Query, let's assume I load this. I think I'm going to come back though, but let me close this for now. If I load this data now and I look at what I have here, the name of the table I'm going to have here is the name of that query. So when this table loads, you're going to realize that I'm going to have product LKP here. That is the importance of your that's the importance of the name of your query. And then again, what is also another thing you need to note, in DAX, by the time you get to DAX and you start writing DAX statements, name of a table, if it has a space with between it, if you have space in the name of a table, you have to put the name of that table inside quotation marks. So it is always advantageous, or let me say you have an advantage when you write the name of a table and you avoid using spaces. So that is why, if you notice, all the tables we have here, they are all named, instead of using space, underscore was used. That can come out your assessment. Why should you not have space in the name of a table? Because if you have space in the name of a table, by the time you want to use the name of that table in a DAX query or in a DAX formula, you have to put the name of that table inside quotation marks. So it will increase your syntax, right? But if there's no space in the name of that table, you can simply write the name of the table without putting it inside quotation marks. All right. Then applied steps. All the steps you pass through here, everything you do on Power Query is going to be recorded here. Everything. Everything. type, is to bring the column back. It will assume that, okay, as at the time when I was on this step, column has not been removed. Before it's promoted the headers, if I come to source, you realize that the name of the columns, product ID, product brand, product name, product queue, product retail price, etc. They were not the column headers as at here. Then we promoted the headers, and now we have this. Then we change type. So I will acknowledge the person that is raising hand. Just a second. You will see that everything we are doing was recorded. So that's what you have in applied steps. So anytime a new data comes in inside this particular query, or let me say anytime you refresh this query, what Power Query does is that all the data are made to pass through this step afresh. Each time you refresh all these steps, the data passes through these steps afresh. I say afresh. You get it? All right. And then you can delete column, you can delete steps. So these are the apply steps. I remove the column here and it's recorded it. There's no Control Z in Power Query. Okay, no Control Z in Power Query, but you can go back if you perform an action and you don't want to perform that action again. So you can just click on this delete step. And if you notice now my product ID is back. If I say, okay, I've changed type to 1 to 3, I don't want to change it again, I can delete step to go back to the ABC that it was before. I promoted the others. I said, okay, I don't want to promote the others again, right? Then the others will come down. All right, please. Someone wants to ask a question. Please go ahead.
The network has been bad. Your calls have been
Very sorry.
breaking.
Apologies. Sorry about that. I think network is bad generally everywhere. So sorry about that. But don't worry, I guarantee you have not missed so much. I guarantee you've not missed much. And whatever you have missed, you would catch up in the video. And then if you probably watch the video and then something is still not clear, Antonia, you can always reach out to me. I promise I'll be there. I would be willing to explain again.
Okay, thank you.
So in our training, as long as everyone wants to learn and nobody is doing ole, right? Everybody will learn maximally. All of us will be fine. Even me myself, I'm only fulfilled when you learn and you learn well. That's the only time I'm fulfilled. After the student is constant. Okay. All right. So you have seen two parts of your Power Query interface. You have seen your list of queries. You have seen your query settings, which consist of the name of the query, right, and the applied steps. That's the query property. Okay. So now the next thing is that you have your data pane. This part that shows your data, it shows your data in rows and columns. You can see these are the columns or headers or fields. So I asked that question in your assessment that columns are otherwise known as what? Fields. So when you say complete all necessary fields, you're filling a form and they say complete all necessary fields. Complete all necessary means complete all necessary columns. And each of the steps you are counting like this, like all this row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. The rows are known as records. Records. If you don't want to call it record, you can call it observation. Records or observation. All right. So apart from that, what we have next is your formula bar. So if you notice now, it looks much like it looks so much like the formula bar we have in Microsoft Excel. Okay, so this is the formula bar. So one good thing about Power Query is that you don't need to write plenty formulas. I bet there are people that actually know this formula. The formula used in Power Query is known as M code. M code, like M for monkey. M code, that is the name of the formula. It is not DAX, it is not Excel formula. All these things you are looking at, it's not Excel formula, it is not DAX, it is not Java, it is not Python. It is simply called M code. It is simply called M code. Okay, and then You can learn it if you want to, but you will not need to learn it. Everything we do, Excel writes the formula for us. Everything, every single thing we do, every single thing that happens. For example, just like the example that I made the other time, if let's say I want to delete this column now, and I highlight it, let's say I click on remove, it will write the formula for, can you see, table dot remove columns source comma column 1. It will write all the formula. See, this is the column I just removed now. This is the formula for it, for removing that column. That is, if I don't want to click on remove column manually here, I could have typed this out, this formula, and it would have done exactly the same job. But Power Query makes life very easy in the sense that have to you don't have to write all the formula. You don't have to write it at all you need to do is just click on the right thing, note the right thing you want to do, then click the right button, and you are home and dry. You are home and dry. Okay, somebody's raising a hand again before we move on.
Yes, please. How did you get
Okay,
to this Power Query from where we stopped yesterday? From importing
okay,
all
let
the
me close it.
documents? Yes.
There's no problem. So just right click on any one of the tables you have here. Just right click and click on edit query.
I did that now, and I'm not
If you did,
seeing.
if you did it to open.
No, it opened, but it's different from what I'm seeing on your screen.
Don't worry, you see it. Okay, you mean the data, the remaining data. I've not loaded it.
Ah, your own is even fuller than mine. Mine is only showing one column or two.
Okay, I just did mine. I right clicked on store lookup, then all the data went to the left.
Hello, sir. So, I went to get space now. He was about to suffer the money. But someone thought he has passed it. So, I'm taking it tomorrow. If you do not, if I don't have classes early in the morning, I'm going to drop the phone for him, then send the money.
All right. So have you been able to do this? Has it open now, Mr. Victoria?
Sorry. When I clicked on edit query, it brought up a new page.
Okay. Yes, now the new page is the Power Query.
Okay, thank you.
Right. All right. So we move on. So this data pane, this is your formula bar. Okay, we are still going to have something to do in the formula bar later. Okay, but don't worry, we are not writing M code. As far as Power Query is concerned, you are not writing any code. All right. So then after that, you have your ribbon. That is where you have your controls, what you're going to be clicking, what you're going to be using to do all your permutations and all your combinations, right? So you have different tabs. What you have on top is what we call tabs. You have the home tab. You have like 6 tabs in Power BI, Power Query. You have transform, you have add column, you have view, you have tools, you have help. So throughout this training, you are going to focus your attention so much on home, transform, and add column. The only thing you're going to have to do here is formula query settings, right? And maybe you want to see column distribution. There are a few things I can do for you here. All right. So now let's move to home. So like I said, what we do so much in Power Query's alias is ETL, which means extract, transform, and load. Which means you use your Power Query to connect to your data source, then you use it to transform the data, or literally to clean the data. Then after you have done that, you also use it to load the data into your data model, right? And we have seen 2 of that. We have seen how to connect to data points, and we have seen how to load, but we have not seen how to transform. So let's start our journey. So if I come to my product lookup here right now, okay, you see that my column headers, they are below. They are below, right? What do I want to do? First thing is I want to promote the headers. So from my home tab, I can come here and say use first row as headers. I'll click it and look at what happened here. It promoted the headers and automatically changed the data type. Let me assume it did not change it by itself. It will change it because Power BI makes life very easy. But let me assume it did not change it. Let me just assume. So I've promoted the headers. And if you notice now what I have right now, hey, I have removed columns. Okay, I removed the columns the other time, the product ID column. I want to cancel it. I don't need this column removed. I need my product ID, of course. So if you notice now, I have my product ID back. Then I promoted header, so maybe I can cancel that and do it again. So what you just do from your home tab, then you see use first row as header here, right? And if you notice now, the first row will become the column headers. If you click on this drop down, you are going to realize that it is not only use first row as headers that you have there. You have use first row as headers, you have use headers as first row. So let's assume I want to, let's say, go back. You have your column headers here, but you have decided that they are also part of the data. They are not column headers in any way. You can use them as first row. You can use them as first row. And how will you name the column? You can name the columns anything you like. You can just double click on the column headers and give it a name if that is what you want to do. And if you notice, it is recording everything, even that you renamed the name. Can you see it wrote an M code for it? This is the name I gave, right? You can see this is rename table dot to name columns, right? This is recording everything. Everything is being recorded. All right. So I want to cancel this. Okay. I want to cancel this as well. I demoted the headers. I don't want it. Okay, so that's the first thing that I'm teaching you here. How to promote headers and how to demote headers. And I believe we have learned that one and we have learned it well. Okay, so now the next thing, what about data types? So I mentioned data types as part of what we do in data cleaning. So data types, if I can give it a definition, it will simply be the type of data. So and you have to pardon my definition. So data type that we have in Power Query includes whole number. We have whole number. Whole number simply means number that does not have decimal points. For example, 10.1 is not whole number. 10 is a whole number. 5 is a whole number. 8 is a whole number. 2.5 is not a whole number because it has float. What you have at the end of a number after dot is called float. So any number that has float is not a whole number. Then you have decimal. Decimal is a number that has float. That is, it has maybe 0.1, 0.2, point anything. Even if it is 0.0, let's say 1.0 is a decimal number. 1 is whole number, 1.0 is decimal. So we have whole number, we have decimal, we have currency. Currency are usually decimals with 2 decimal places. For example, if you look at your bank balance, you're likely going to see it having 2 decimal places, like maybe, okay, I wanted to say 104.50, but it's not a radio station. I would say maybe your bank balance is, let's say, 105 million, things like that. But in short, we have data type called currency. Then we have dates. We have date. We have time. Of course, you already know what date will contain. If you have a column of data which contain dates, right, that is date. If you have another one which contains time, that is time. Then you have date time, date/time. So that is a column that contains both date and time. Another data type you have is Boolean, Boolean. Boolean is binary, is a binary data type, and the values are only true or false. It's usually those 2 things. Those are the 2 things that your Boolean data type can contain, when you have just true or false. Another data type is text. Text, T-E-X-T, text. Okay, so in Power Query we call it text, but generally in a lot of programming languages it is called string. It is mostly called string. Yes, it is mostly called string. So, but in short, you have your name, Adewale your name, Theophilus, your name, Victoria, your name, Joseph. They are examples of string, right? Or in this case, we call them text. Okay. Another data type is what? Percentage, right? Percentage is not whole number now, and it is not decimal. All right. So, but if you want to change data type for anything, so for example, let me say this is product ID. Product ID is numbers. So I can leave it as text. This is actually whole number. Can you see if you want to change data type, you can simply click the number that is at the back here. Just a second. Let me change my connection.
Hello. Please, did anybody get the query? Antonia, did you get it?
Which part?
I mean, his last screen. Were you able to? Did you get that table? Did you get
Are you talking about
the query, edit
Data,
query?
data set.
That edit query.
okay from the
Yeah,
load,
yeah.
like from
Get
the
data.
normal feed?
Yeah.
Please, can I share? Let
You
me
right
share my
click.
screen so you can see it.
Okay.
I wasn't able
Before
to
you
get that. I was just watching, so I can do it privately when I'm watching the recorded videos.
No, this is where the something initially was. So from here,
Yes.
let's say this top, and I did.
Okay.
We right click like
Right
this
click.
and click
Yes.
edit query, right?
Edit query.
See, this is
Yes.
what I'm getting.
And the sample he was using was, I think that was store or product.
Yeah, I don't think. Let me try for.
Store lookup.
Okay, the queries are by the left, and they are collapsed.
Where is it?
See the left, see this left side, this triangle. Sorry, this arrow rather above these queries by the left. Try to
Okay, yeah.
collapse. Yes, let's see what's there. Yeah, so
It's
this is
even this part that the
no,
table was
this is
longer.
another data. He was doing product lookup.
Okay.
Is it product lookup or
No, I
storage?
said it. Yes. The
Even
He
when
data
was
I
I
doing
was using
product.
was
He was
much
doing
than
product
this.
lookup.
This one is just only
even
for
when I
calendar.
did for product, so yeah, let me try products.
And you can just change it instead
You
of
can even click.
starting from the beginning.
You can even click it from the query board.
Okay, from this part.
Yeah. So click on product lookup.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's the
yeah,
same
yeah.
thing.
All right. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. We are back. I can see that you have used the small period to explain a few stuffs. So I kind of believe we're all on the same page. Okay, can I confirm I'm audible a little bit at least? Am I audible?
Yes.
Can you hear me? All right, thank you very much. All right, so this is my calendar table now, for example. So this data type presently here is date. If I change to date time, look at what I have. It's going to bring time in front of it. Can you
You're
see
not
now?
sharing
This
your
is date
screen.
time. Okay.
We
Oh,
can see
we're
your
not seeing your
screen.
screen. No, it's not being shared.
Oh, thank you very much for raising an alarm. You see it now. All right. So look at it now. If I this is what I had before. In your dates, in your calendar lookup table, you have brought in the query already. You will realize that what you have there is something like this. It is ABC right now. I can change it to collect to date. This is what's supposed to be. This right. I from this I can change it to date time. This is accurate time. I want to replace current. So it brings error because what I have on the screen is not time, it is date. And if you look at the icon, it looks like a clock. If you use date, time, and time zone, see what you have. Can you see now? This is the date, January 1, 1997. This is the time, 12:00 a.m. And then the time zone is plus 01. That's because I'm in Nigeria, right? Our time is plus 1. If I do this, if you are not in Nigeria, you're in UK, for example, I expect to see maybe plus 00, something like that, or maybe GMT or GM, something like that. So this is date, time, and time zone. But what I have need actually right now is date. I don't want to see the date, time, or whatever. So that is one way to change data type. Another way to change data type, if you don't want to, that's the easiest way. But you can right click on your data, then you're going to see data type here again. Data type. All right, change type. Guys, you can change from whole number to percentage to fixed number. Let's want to change it to text, for example, put that back to text. Right? And then back to text. So another way to change data type, I can come here. See, this is data type again. I want the whole number. It's going to ask me when I want to replace current. Okay.
As a teacher, go on.
The network is not
Oh,
helping.
there's four, Abi.
Yeah, the network is cracking.
I might possibly need your help with all this because I was lost yesterday, so I'm just trying to pick one or two with this lecture. So I'm trying to just listen to the,
Were you able to practice yesterday, like the one? Because I heard you saying that you can
yeah,
watch it through your
the
system.
network was terrible. Network was terrible, so I had to just get my get Wi-Fi. So, but throughout today, I wasn't able to do anything, work and all that now. So, but yeah, possibly, maybe when we're done with the classes, I'll be able to look through and then apply everything possible.
That's good, right? That's good.
No, it's just in case. Perhaps I'll just try to reach out. I don't know how many of these things work. I'm quite a novice on this platform.
His DM is always open because sometimes too, when I started my Zeto, when I was finding some functions struggling with some, like from some, let me just do some interface in Excel because I haven't perfect my Excel as well. So he always attend
Um,
to me, though he may not reply as fast
as
as you want.
early.
At
Okay.
least the moment he saw the message, he gave you feedback.
All right. No problem. Thank you very much. And
You're welcome. Are we still online? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I
I can.
can. Oh, can.
I'm trying to reach out to him on WhatsApp to know the next move.
Please, someone should call him. He might think he's still in the class.
I don't think so. Yes, sure.
Thank you very much. I'm already committed.
Okay, okay, sir.
The challenge is because of this case, I will not even sometimes.
Okay, all
So
right.
every business I will not know. Because I'm working on the script. You know, you get me.
All right, no problem, sir. He said he's working on it, that his network.
I really,
I believe it is
I
going
really
now.
apologize for the network issues I'm having tonight. That is how MCN has decided to be treating me. Apologies, please. All right, so what I was doing. So I was saying, okay, so let me, this is now our file. So this is our file. If I go to data view, this is the table we did. If you
We
see
can't
now, if
see
I
the
go to
screen,
this
sir.
table now,
I believe the screen. Your
oh,
screen is
thank
not
you.
being shared, sir.
Thank you. I kind of believe that because I was sharing the screen before, I'm still sharing screen. All right, so now can you see when I loaded my data? Can you see the blanks are not there? The
Okay.
blanks are not there. Right. This is not Power Query again. No. This is your data view now in Power BI. If I right click now and I click on edit, if I want to see the blanks again, right? You want to see the blanks again, I can see them just by adding the blanks back, right? Add this back, add this back. So you have seen if the data were more than this, and then you want to remove blanks. Let's say you want to remove the rows that contain blank. You already know how to remove rows that has blank. Number one, if there are entire rows that everything on that row is blank, no column contains any value. You already know how to do that because you can come to remove columns, then come to remove blank rows. Right? But in this case, now there are no column that contains entirely blank rows, so nothing would happen. But if there are rows you want to remove based on this criteria, like I want to remove this, now I want to remove blank rows. I want to remove all the rows where age is blank. You already know how to do that. But what if I don't want to remove all the rows where age is missing? What if I want to insert age for this value? What if I want to do that? What will I do? What will I do? So in that case, I can find the mean of this number. I can come to replace values. I click this and I click replace value. So which value am I finding? I want to find null. Replace with what? What's the mean? You find the mean of all the age here. You can do it manually. So what's 25 plus 45? That is 65. 65 plus 19 is 84. 84 plus 99, 80 plus 90 is 170, 193. 193 divided by 4, let's say 200 divided by 4. What's that? 50. So let's have to replace null with 50. So that is if you are replacing. Can you see now? Now I no longer have blank here. And for this one, you can say, okay, if somebody did not put name, that should not stop our analysis now. Let us simply replace blank with unknown. So just since this one is blank, this one is showing null before, but this one is not null. It's just blank. So value to find, just leave this place blank. Then what do I want to put? They want to put unknown. That is, I don't know the name of the person. And I click OK. And that is done. Right? And you can close it or you can apply it. Okay, somebody wants to ask a question. And if you notice,
So
now
from
this
what
will
we
change.
did, right, not quite long. Can we say?
Okay.
Can I say it's data imputation?
Yeah, that's data imputation.
Thank
Of
you
course.
very much, sir.
When you had something, when you impute value, data imputation. When you impute a value into a place, in this case, a place where there was nothing before, that's data imputation. Age, Vic did not have any age before. We say, okay, let us find the average. And we'll give her 50. Now, I said, number one, you can use frequency. Number two, you can use average. Average or median when you are dealing with numerical variables. Frequency when you are dealing with categorical variables. In this case now, when you see that it's just a name, I just put a unknown is actually perfect for this kind of situation. You know, some people, if it were in the case of, let's say, a survey, for example, some people prefer to fill some forms as anonymous. So if you don't want to use unknown, you can also put anonymous, depending on the kind of project you are working with. Okay, but what is actually important to us right now is our data query skills. And I think you are learning it small. Number one, you know already know how to change data types. You know how to promote headers or demote headers, right? You know how to remove blank rows. If there's a row that there's nothing there, you know how to remove blank rows. You also know how to remove column. Let's say we no longer need this height column. I've done it before, right? Let's say height column is not necessary for our data. Instead of allowing this height column to just take our data, our space unnecessarily, you can just cancel it. Just remove. Just click on remove, and it is gone. Remove column. So let me undo that. And you might say, okay, let's say you have plenty data and then you have to remove a lot of columns. Instead of removing all the columns one by one, let's say it's only name column I need, right? I don't need age and height. I can select age and height, then click on remove column, right? But another way to do that is that I can just select name. That is the column that I don't want to remove. Then click on the drop down here, then click remove other columns. That is, spare the one that I highlight and remove any other one that is not highlighted. So you know how to remove columns, you know how to remove rows. And under remove, if you don't want, if there are no rows that everything is blank, you already know how to filter, remove blanks by using the filter button in your Power Query, right? You know how to replace values. You want to do data imputation, you know how to use replace value button to do data imputation. You know all that. All right. Do you have any questions so far? Is there any question before we move on? Any question?
No question for now, sir.
Beautiful. So now let's move on. Let's move on. Okay. So let's see something. Let's see how we can bring in data from another source. So what if we want to, let me teach us how to do append. Let's do append tonight. Append. What does append mean? How is it used? So you have already brought into your data model of your transactions 1997 and transactions 1998. I asked you not to bring them yesterday, right? Is that correct? You need an answer, please.
Yes,
Somebody
sir.
should please answer.
Sure.
Thank you very much. So what you do for me now, please, go to your directory where you save those data, whether it's your download folder, any folder at all that it is. Go to that folder. For me, this is the folder. Then create a transactions folder. Create a transactions folder. Okay, create a transactions folder and put those two files inside that folder. Go to where you save the file, whether your download folder. For me, I have a folder where I saved it. This is the folder. It has a folder because I have a lot of other data related folders on my laptop. I'm saying that, okay, go to that folder where you have that stuff. Go to that folder where you have it. Then from there, from that folder, cut those two files, create a new folder, name it transactions. Then cut the two files and paste it inside that transaction. When the first person is done, we'll continue. Is the first person done? Somebody should have been done. No? Hello?
I'm done with it.
Oh, beautiful. I was expecting the feedback. That's why I was waiting. All right, so let's go to our Power Query. So bring in those two files now. Bring in the two files. Bring in the two files now. So transactions 1997. Transactions 1997. Once you have it, bring in transactions 1998. Make sure it is from that folder. Okay. Transactions 97, then transactions 98. Okay, so I have my transactions 97 now and transactions 1998. So based on what we are trying to do now, you will realize that 1997 transaction is the transactions that happened in 97. If you look at stock transaction date, you will see that they are 1997 dates. This is 98 because this thing has not changed. Okay, so this is 97 now. If you check transaction, you see that all the date there is 97, right? And if you click on 1998, you see that all the dates you have here, everything is 1998. So in your analysis, we don't desire to have different data source, or let me say different data tables for the same object, or is that the right thing to call it? Everything is transactions table. That's where we record our transactions. In our analysis, we prefer to have it on a single table. So what can I do to make the two of them be on a single table? Before we go, let me teach you how to find number of rows in a data. You can come to transform. Let me just peep into transform. I've been trying to keep myself to the things that are on the home tab so far, but let me peep into transform. You can click on transform, then click on count rows. So in my 1997 transactions, I have 86,000 plus, right? I want to close it. My 1998 transactions, I can come to transform again. Then I click on count rows. I have 182,000. So one is 86,000, one is 182,000. 1997 and 1998. Right. So what if I want to merge the two? I don't want them to be separate. That is where append comes in. There are two ways to append, right? So I can say, okay, this is 1997 data. Let me append 1998 to it. That is, I will join my 1998 data to my 1997 data. I'm not creating a new file, just joining the two of them together. That is append. That's what append query means. Append means you want to stack your queries, put one on top of the other. So you can click on append queries. You see, I did not click the drop down. Yeah. If I do that, it brings this up. It's asking me, am I joining two tables? So this is concatenate rows from two tables. I want to concatenate. I want to concatenate two tables. It's asking me, do I want to append just one table, or I want to append, two tables? I want to append three or more. I said just two. Then you can ask me, which table do you want to append? It's already telling me here that 1997 is a current table. Of course, you know from here that 1997 transaction is the first table. Then I'll click this as a second, right? I'll click OK. It will change this. Can you see it has created a step that I've appended a query to it. And now this is my 1997 file. If I come to transform now and I check on count rows, you see that the number of rows has increased to 269,720. Right?
The network was breaking here, so I couldn't get which of the bar you click to get the append. Okay, I've seen it. Append query.
This is append query. So what I did, let me remove it. Click on append query. I'm on 19. I want to append 98 to 97. So I'll click on append query. Right? After I click on append query, Power Query will ask you, are you appending just two tables, or you want three or more tables? Of course, it's only two I have in this particular example. So I'll just click on append, then I'll click on 1998. Then I'll click OK. Very fast. If I come here now, count rows, I will have 269,720 rows. Right. So that is one way to append. That is, I'm not creating a fresh table. I'm just adding 1998 to existing 1997 query. So what if I want to create another table? I want to append two tables, and I want to append them as a new table. How will I achieve that? Let me remove this and let me remove the append query. So in that case, from here now, I'll click this drop down right here. Then I'll click on append queries as new. Append queries as new. Then append queries as new. I'll click on the second one I want to append, 1998. Two or more two tables. If I have three or more, I'll click this. I'll just list all the columns I want to append. But I want to just this and this. So I'll click OK. And if you notice now, a fresh query was created for the append. If you check 1997 now, if you look at the number of rows, it is still the same. It is still 86,000. If you check number of rows for 1998, it is still 182,000. Right? But now I have a new query here. Can you see append one? And I taught you how to rename queries already. You can just come here and say this is transactions append. I already told you why you should not use space in your table name. It has a disadvantage. I've just decided not to eat this time around. Yeah? Yeah. Let me allow that. Okay, so now I have transaction append. Instead of let me call it transactions here. Yeah? And then I think I prefer to use underscore. Good. transactions append. If I check number of rows for transactions append, you will see that it is not 86,000 and it is not 182,000. It is the sum of the two, which is 269,720. That is append. That's what append does. But there's a better way than appending. That is adding data from folder. So if you have the same data, so let's assume that maybe you work with an organization where you prepare, let's say, weekly report, monthly report, daily report, annual report, blah blah blah, and all your data always come in the same format. Just like in this case, now we have transactions 1997 and we have transactions 1998. I'm closing. We have transactions 1997 and transactions 1998, right? They are in the same format. Look at it. They have the same heading: transaction dates, stock dates, brother day, blah blah blah. Instead of bringing them in one by one, you can bring in the two once from a folder. How will I do that? So just click on your get data, or if you're in your Power Query, you can just click on new source, then click on, this time around it's not text or CSV, right? What I need now is a folder, so I'll click on more to get more details. So I'll click on file. I don't even need to click on actually. Click on folder, right? Click on folder. So it will ask you which folder do you want to connect to. There are two ways to do this. You can come to the folder. This is the folder. I can click here, then just copy this. Copy the directory and paste it here. Man, you are fine. Or you can click on browse and locate that folder. I'm sure you can do that. Then I'll click OK. Right, it brings this. Then I can click on transform data. Okay, so I'll click on combine. This is combine button. Okay, so I'll click OK. So this is how to bring data from folder. I'll briefly show you the advantage of bringing data from folder now before we go tonight. Call it a date till tomorrow. Interesting, yeah. Okay, so this is it. So if I come to count rows, you see that this is one I brought in just now from the folder. This is what I brought in from the folder. I can see it's 29720. Right? Oh, I closed something. That's not what I want to do. I wanted to cancel this. All right, we are going now. Source name, I don't need it actually. I actually don't need it. So I want to delete that column. You already know how to do that. So let's assume now that it's another year now and the 1999 data is now ready. Control V. So let me say this is now 1999. Yeah. Or let's say, they forgot. Oh, we did not add 1990. We did not add 1996 to it. And now 1996 is also ready. 1996 is now ready too. What are we going to do like this? Okay, so one thing about folder, one thing about bringing data from folder is now I've increased number of data in my transactions folder, right? It is now 4. I've added 96, which was not there before, the previous year, and I've added the fresh year, which is 1999, right? So once you do this, bringing in data from folder is a form of automation for reporting, because immediately you refresh. What did I say? Immediately you refresh, your query that you have here is going to load in the fresh data. It's going to load the current data from your query. I mean, from your data source. If I come here now and I check count rows, it is no longer 269,000. You'll be surprised. Bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it. We're waiting. See now, 539,000. 539,000. It has loaded 1996. It has loaded 1999, and we did not do anything. It loaded 1996. It loaded 1999, and we did not do anything. Right. And if you notice now, you are penned. Your transactions are penned. It's still going to remain the same thing. This is our append. This one we created for append. It's still going to be 269,000 that it has been before we increased the number of data in that folder. That is before we had data for 1996 and before we had data for 1999. Can you see it is still 269,000? So that means it's actually better to bring in data from folder, especially if your list is growing, if you know you're still going to have more data for subsequent period. That way, your query will load in the newest data as your data grows. Okay? It's a convenient point to end tonight. It's a convenient point to end tonight. Before we go, do you have any question? So I'm going to upload the video. I'm going to upload the video and share us the link. Then before our class tomorrow, by God's grace, I'm also going to create a class assessment for us. All right. So what I was saying, I'm going to create a class assessment for us, and I'm going to send that to us before our class tomorrow. I want to say thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming to class, and I'll see you tomorrow by God's grace. The things that you have learned, I want to implore us, please try and listen to the video again. Watch the video when the links is released, and then try and practice all these things. Then I'm going to send us data that you can use for our practices before our real project comes. Okay, so do you have any questions?
Not at all.
Not at
But
all.
I was just
But
surprised
I was
that
just surprised that
the Power BI
Power BI
automatically adds the folder.
the folder.
Yes. Yes. So that is bringing in data from folder. That is the beauty. That is the beauty. So, for example, in my current place of work now, I have some models that I've already built for some reports. So when it's a new month, when people will be saying, it's a new month, I have a lot of reports to prepare. I'll be playing around. Trust me, I'll be going from office to office, just greeting people because I've done the work already. I've prepared my models. What I need to do is just put my data model in some folders, then refresh my queries, then my report is ready. I mean, within 20 minutes, I can prepare some reports. It's that easy for me.
Thank you very much tonight. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, bro. All right.
All right.
Have a nice night, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow by God's grace.
All right, sir.
Okay.